So, there I was, scrolling through Plenty of Fish, my nightly ritual in the digital sea of singles. The glow of my phone was the only light in my apartment, and the city outside felt both close and impossibly far away. Every night it was the same routine, hoping, searching, and sometimes just passing the time. It's like a giant online garage sale. You sift through profiles, hoping for a hidden gem, but mostly it's stuff you wouldn't take for free. There's a certain thrill in the hunt, but also a weird exhaustion. You start to wonder if the right person is even out there, or if you're just collecting digital dust. My name's Leo, and like half the city, I was looking for a connection, something real, or at least something better than another night with Netflix. I'd tried to convince myself that being single was freedom, but honestly, it was starting to feel more like a waiting room. The city's always buzzing, but it can feel lonely. You can be surrounded by thousands of people and still feel invisible, like you're just another face in the crowd. I'd been on the app for months. A few dates, all forgettable. Some were awkward, some were just plain dull, and a couple made me question my taste in people altogether. Still, I kept fishing, hoping for someone who got my jokes and hated pineapple on pizza as much as I did. Maybe someone who'd binge-watch old sitcoms with me or argue about the best late-night food in the city. Then I saw her, Sasha. Her profile stopped me in my tracks, which almost never happened anymore. Her photos were different, artsy, mysterious, not just filtered selfies. There was a sense of adventure in her smile, and a story behind every picture. She looked like someone who actually lived life, not just posed for it. Her bio? Just looking for someone to share a pizza with, and maybe my fries if you're special. It was simple, but it made me grin. It felt honest and a little bit daring. I laughed. It felt normal, like maybe, just maybe, this was someone who didn't take herself too seriously. I sent a message trying to stand out from the crowd. I made a joke about pineapple on pizza and asked her what her ultimate fry dip was. I figured, why not be myself? To my surprise, she replied instantly. No waiting, no games, just a quick, witty comeback that made me laugh out loud. Our conversation flowed, music, rent prices, late-night tacos. We swapped stories about bad dates and favorite bands. It was easy, natural, and fun. It felt like chatting with a friend I hadn't met yet. There was no pressure, just curiosity and a sense of possibility. No weird questions, no awkward silences, just two people connecting in the middle of a noisy city. After a couple days, she suggested we meet up. I was surprised by how quickly it felt right. Enough typing, let's see if the real-life chemistry is as good as our Wi-Fi connection, she wrote. I agreed right away, barely hesitating. We set a date for Friday night downtown. I was genuinely excited. It felt like the start of something, even if I didn't know what. Maybe, just maybe, this was the one. Or at least, someone worth meeting. I kept replaying our chats, imagining how it would go. Would we click in person? Would she laugh at my jokes, or would it all fall flat? I told myself not to get my hopes up, but I couldn't help it. This felt different. There was a spark, even through a screen. I was ready to see if the spark was real. I wanted to know if the person behind the profile was as genuine as she seemed. Friday couldn't come soon enough. Every hour felt like a countdown to something new, something that might just change everything. I had no idea what was waiting for me. The city was alive, and for the first time in a while, so was I. But I was all in, ready to take a chance and see where this night and this connection might lead. Friday finally arrived, and with it came that familiar electric anticipation that only the end of a long week can bring. The city buzzed with possibility, every street and corner alive with people chasing their own Friday night stories. I spent way too long getting ready, cycling through shirts, trying to look cool but not desperate. My closet looked like a tornado had hit it, shirts flung everywhere as I debated which one said effortless without screaming, I tried too hard. The pre-date jitters were real. What if she wasn't like her texts? What if I ran out of things to say? My mind raced with every possible awkward scenario, each one more ridiculous than the last. I blasted music, paced my apartment, and gave myself a pep talk. Be cool. Be yourself. Don't mention 80s action movies unless she does. I even practiced a few opening lines in the mirror, just in case. Finally, I grabbed my keys, took a deep breath, and stepped out into the hallway, feeling the weight of the night ahead. The city's chaos felt like home, but tonight it was electric. Every light seemed brighter, every sound sharper, as if the city itself was rooting for me. As I walked to the subway, I felt a surge of optimism. Maybe tonight would be different. Maybe tonight, something would click. Tonight could be the start of something amazing. The kind of night you remember years later and smile about. Maybe this would be one of those stories you tell your friends for years, the kind that gets better every time you retell it. I smiled, letting the city's energy carry me forward, feeling lighter with every step. The train roared in and I joined the crowd, all of us heading somewhere, hoping for something good, each person lost in their own hopes and plans. I replayed our conversations in my head, trying to calm my nerves, wondering if I'd remember all the little details she'd shared. I wondered if she was as nervous as I was, maybe checking her phone for the 100th time, hoping I wouldn't bail. The city lights blurred past and I felt ready, nervous but ready for whatever the night might bring. It was time to meet Sasha, and for the first time all day, I let myself feel excited. The Gilded Cage, Sasha's pick, was a hidden, dimly lit bar in a gritty downtown alley. No sign, just a black door and a flickering lamp. I hesitated, gut uneasy, but chalked it up to nerves. Inside it was dark, with only a few shadowy figures in velvet booths. I spotted Sasha in a corner, her back to the wall. She matched her photos, but her eyes were sharp, scanning the room. She wasn't sipping a drink or checking her phone, just watching. The vibe was tense, not artsy. She waved me over, her smile tight. "Leo?" she called, voice rougher than I'd imagined. I slid into the booth, trying to sound confident. The air felt heavy, not exciting. My gut screamed something was off, but I was already there. I tried to shake it off, hoping things would loosen up. But the warning signs were piling up. I told myself to relax, but it wasn't working. This wasn't what I expected. I was already second-guessing everything. "So this place is interesting," I tried, but Sasha just shrugged, eyes scanning the room. She liked private places, she said, but it sounded more like a warning. The witty banter from our texts was gone, replaced by rapid-fire questions. What do I do? Where do I live? Do I live alone? I tried to joke about pizza, but she barely smiled. She wasn't hungry, just tense, watching the door. A man in a leather jacket entered. She relaxed a bit. I felt like a prop, not a date. Every question was a dead end. She kept checking her phone, quick and nervous. When she finally focused on me, it was to ask about my watch. Is it real? That's when the chill hit me. I knew I needed to get out. "I'm actually feeling tired," I said, trying to sound casual. I reached for my wallet, but Sasha's demeanor changed, suddenly sharp, urgent. "Just walk me to the end of the alley," she insisted. Every instinct screamed no, but I didn't want to escalate things. Maybe she was just scared of the dark, I hoped. We walked out, the bouncer from inside giving us a knowing nod. My blood ran cold. He was in on it. Sasha pointed away from the main street. "It's quicker this way." I knew it was a lie, but I followed, frozen by fear. The alley grew darker, the bar's light fading behind us. Suddenly, a figure stepped out, blocking our way. My heart plummeted. The trap was sprung. I realized I was completely alone. There was no way out but forward. I braced myself for whatever was coming. This was no ordinary date. The man blocking the exit was huge, a knife glinting in his hand. The fear I'd felt all night became real. "Just give us what you've got and nobody gets hurt," he growled. I glanced at Sasha. She was calm, standing behind me. She wasn't a victim. She was in on it. The friendly girl from the app was a fiction, a lure. My mind raced for a way out, but I was boxed in. "Wallet, phone, and the watch," he demanded. "The watch?" So that's why she asked. I felt anger and terror mix. Every message, every joke was just bait. I slowly raised my hand, surrendering. "Okay, man, take it easy," I said, voice shaking. I looked for an escape, but there was none. The city felt like a predator and I was its prey. I realized how perfectly I'd been played. My optimism was gone. All I could do was survive. My mind raced, give them everything and hope, or fight back and risk it all. I scanned the alley for options. To my left, a stack of trash cans and a wooden pallet. I needed a distraction. I acted compliant, reaching for my wallet. The man's eyes followed my hand. In a burst, I lunged, grabbed a trash can and hurled it at him. Garbage exploded everywhere. He stumbled, cursing. I bolted past, slipping on trash, Sasha shouting behind me. I didn't look back. I just ran, lungs burning, legs heavy. The alley stretched on, a nightmare tunnel. I heard footsteps pounding behind me. He was fast. Fear gripped me, but I kept running. I had to make it out. The end of the alley, bright streetlight, was in sight. My heart pounded in my chest, every footstep echoing off the brick walls behind me. The world felt narrowed to that single point of light, a beacon promising safety if I could just reach it. I burst onto the sidewalk, nearly colliding with a couple. Their startled faces flashed past me, but I barely registered them. I was running on pure instinct, desperate to put as much distance as possible between myself and the shadows behind me. I kept running, weaving through crowds, not daring to look back. The city was alive with noise, car horns, distant laughter, the ever-present hum of traffic, but all I could hear was the blood rushing in my ears. 2 blocks later, I ducked into a 24-hour pharmacy, gasping for air. The harsh fluorescent lights made everything feel surreal, like I'd stepped into another world. My phone was gone, but my wallet and watch were still with me. I checked my pockets over and over, half expecting everything to have vanished. I used a payphone to call 911, voice shaking as I told them everything. My hands trembled as I dialed, the reality of what had happened finally sinking in. The police arrived quickly, took my statement, but didn't seem hopeful. They'd seen this before. Another victim, another slick operation, another night in the city. These scams were slick, the profiles and names all fake. It was a web designed to catch people off guard, and I'd walked right into it. Sasha and her crew were probably already gone. By the time the sirens faded, they'd have disappeared into the city's endless maze. As I walked home, the city lights felt less like a promise, more like a warning. Every glowing window and neon sign seemed to flicker with hidden danger. I replayed the night in my head, shaken but alive. Each memory felt sharper, more vivid, as if my mind refused to let me forget a single detail. I realized how close I'd come to losing everything. Not just my belongings, but my sense of trust, my confidence, my peace of mind. The adrenaline faded, replaced by a cold, lingering fear. It crept in slowly, settling deep in my bones, reminding me how vulnerable I'd been. I knew I'd never look at dating apps or dark alleys the same way again. The world felt different now, edged with caution I hadn't known before. I was lucky to get away. Luckier than most, maybe. And I didn't take that for granted. But I'd never be the same. The city had changed for me that night, and so had I. The days after, I was jumpy, suspicious of every shadow and notification. The city felt dangerous, my trust shattered. I deleted all the dating apps. The idea of swiping for love now seemed naive. I knew not everyone online was a criminal, but the illusion was broken. The biggest lesson? Trust your gut. My instincts screamed at me from the start, but I ignored them, hoping for a connection. I let hope override intuition, and that was my mistake. Your gut is a survival tool. Listen to it. I was lucky. I got a second chance. The experience forced me to unplug and look inward. I learned to be more present, more aware, and to trust myself. It's a hard lesson, but one I'll never forget. If my story convinces even one person to listen to that little voice telling them to walk away, maybe some good can come from that night. Sometimes survival is about knowing when to leave.